Hey everybody, what's going on? NIDOSQUAD here, and today we're going to be talking about some expectations that we have, or expectations we should and shouldn't have for E3. Now, I want everybody to understand something. That's great. I'll go over that in a second. But so I just got a new microphone, so you guys let me know how the audio sounds compared to my old audio, because this is a good microphone and everything should be working fine. I was having some issues earlier, but we should be in the clear, so I hope this audio is much better. You guys let me know. But okay, so expectations for E3. It's the main discussion right now, obviously. Everyone is talking about E3, what's going to be revealed. Oh shit, I hit 200 followers. Ha! I didn't even noticed. Shout out to you guys, thank you. But E3 is a little less, actually it's less than 40 days right now, and we really need to start looking at our expectations, because it's either really high for a lot of people or really low for a lot of people. I don't know too many people that have low expectations for this E3, but I kind of want to discuss my thought process on it and why I think that it's fair to really go either way. So this isn't really my perception. This isn't really my anticipation for E3, but it is something that I think everybody should keep in mind and bear witness to kind of some of the examples that I have. And then that way you guys can go ahead and make up your mind. So let's hop into last year's presentation. So in January of 2017, we got a full-blown Nintendo Switch presentation. It was an hour long. I got it pulled up right here. Shout out to this YouTuber. He had it on his channel. I couldn't find the video anywhere. So this was January 12th, 2017. We had everything, right? We had an hour-long presentation. I watched it live, and it was something just awesome. I mean, Nintendo hit a home run right here. They gave the kitchen sink to us, right? So think about it. So this is the year Nintendo Switch is launching. At this point, Nintendo Switch is launching 2 months from January, March 3rd is when it actually was revealed. Or launched, excuse me, with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, what this did was really set the marketing, the business standpoint for the Nintendo Switch for the entire year, starting in January, which is that's pretty intense. I mean, like when you compare it to this year, the only direct we've had is in March. So I'll get into that in a second. But so what this direct covered from the beginning of the year right away, I mean, we got how the Switch works, its functionalities and things like that. As you can see here, we got 1-2 switch. We got let's scroll through here really quick. We got ARMS 1-2 switch. We got Splatoon 2. We got Mario. We ended up getting Mario Odyssey. We ended up getting what other presentations did we get? Xenoblade. Now Xenoblade was a December release. Okay, so I mean, it literally goes to the end of the year, this presentation. It gave us everything. And then on top of that, we had Dragon Quest Heroes, Octopath Traveler. Now, Octopath Traveler, you're talking about being ambitious. This was last year, the start of last year, and this is set to release this July. So again, guys, they did not pull any punches back. And they really, really gave us the kitchen sink here. And we got FIFA. We got, obviously, Legend of Zelda we knew about at this point. And I mean, it was just nuts. We got everything we knew for the Nintendo Switch. We knew what games they were, when they were releasing, all that stuff. Now they followed this direct up with one in April. Now the one in April was a lot less overwhelming. It really wasn't anything in particular for the Nintendo Switch, anything spectacular, but it did confirm for us. They had some ARMS and Splatoon featured. They had Disgaea 5. They had Ever Oasis for the 3DS. So this was a 3DS Nintendo Switch combo. So this direct here wasn't really too important. One game or two games really for the Switch that was important. Obviously Mario Kart Deluxe and then Sonic Forces. And other than that, was pretty much it. And it was just really, really underwhelming. Now, following this direct, obviously E3 came. We had the video presentation. And it was basically a reiteration of the titles that we already knew about. They kind of expanded on games that we knew were coming out for 2017. And then they gave us some awesome information as well. Obviously, Pokemon Switch. We had Bayonetta. We had Metroid Prime 4. We had, I think we had Octopath again. But I think we had more information. We had Yoshi, we had, and Fire Emblem. I mean, it was crazy. And most of the highlight of last year's E3 was for this year because they had already given us everything. So the expectations for last year compared to this year are very different because the business model is different. So last year, obviously, they needed to get the Switch out there, sell as many as possible with as many first-party IPs as possible, Mario, Zelda, and the other third-party titles they had, Skyrim, we had Xenoblade, we had FIFA, we had all these other different titles. So from a business perspective, they went all out. They sold 17.8 million Switches by the end of the fiscal year 2017, this past March. Now this year, they're wanting to sell 20 million Nintendo Switches. So what's the difference between the expectation from last year to this year? Last year, the expectation for E3 really wasn't too high for me because we already knew the games we were getting. We didn't know anything new. Last year's E3 was more about 2018 than it was 2017, in my opinion. So this year, we didn't get a direct in January. We didn't get a direct in February. We got one in March. Now, prior to March's direct, this one right here, okay, I had such high expectations based off the fact that last year, the same time, we had everything. We knew what the holiday titles were. We knew what was coming for the Switch. And I was really pissed off after this direct, actually. I was not happy with it at all. I thought it was very underwhelming. And I had to take a few days. I took like 3 to 5 days to really kind of think about why I was pissed and what was different. Obviously, once I collected my thoughts and kind of went back and looked at it, the business model was different. So for this year, we only have games anticipated up through July, right? We have Octopath in July. We have Captain Toad. We've had a lot of ports, like Donkey Kong just came out, Mario Tennis Aces. We've had, just some other ports that have come out. And there were some 3DS titles titled in there or featured in there as well. So my expectations and stuff for this particular direct based off last year were very high. I didn't take into consideration the fact that this year is very, very different. So they're trying to hit a much higher plateau than last year. I think they set their goal last year at the beginning of the year to sell 10 million Switches, I think was their goal. It may have been higher, correct me if I'm wrong, but 17.5 or 17.8 million Switches was very, very high. And this year, they've nearly doubled the amount that they want to sell. So what happens when that standard is set? What does Nintendo have to do from a business perspective to hit that goal? Well, they have to overhype us. They have to keep us in suspicion. They have to keep us they kind of have to distance themselves from us. However, they did throw us a bone in this direct, right? We got Super Smash Brothers, which I 100% knew was going to be at this direct, like without a doubt. I knew the Smash Bros. Game was going to be there. I thought that was going to be the big game announced, which it was. However, I also thought we were going to get a lot more than we got. Again, and this was based off 2017. So we got Mario Tennis Aces, that was about 4 to 5 minutes. We got Splatoon 2, that was about 4 to 5 minutes. Smash, obviously, was the end of the video. It was a really, really cool reveal. And then for the 3DS, we got Luigi's Mansion, Detective Pikachu, and then Switch headlines. Other than that, we had Kirby, which is selling really well. Okami was actually pretty dope. Octopath Traveler, and Dark Souls, which has been delayed. Captain Toad for July. Crash Bandicoot was pretty hype, but outside of that was ports, South Park, Captain Toad, which is a 3DS and Switch title. So really your big highlights, at least in my opinion, are Octopath Traveler and Smash. Mario Tennis Aces, okay, I guess people are excited for it. Splatoon 2 DLC, not a whole new game, it's DLC. I mean, you can only get so excited about DLC. Now, Splatoon 2, people love Splatoon 2. I don't like it very much. But if people loved it and they thought the DLC was sufficient in this direct for big news, awesome. Then I'm happy for it. It's just for me, it was very underwhelming. So I was very disappointed. And then I was like, well, let me take a step back and think. If they gave everything away again, would they sell 20 million Switches? No, in my opinion, because at E3, that's all eyes are on you. And I think Nintendo, with this being a console type game now, with there already being 17.8 million Switches out, they really, really, really want to heighten the momentum even more and hit us with some big news. Now, we know for a fact Fire Emblem, Yoshi, Super Smash Bros. Are 2018. Pokemon is 2018 or later. And that's it. Beyond July, we have no games. So what I'm thinking is September for Smash Brothers for the online release, and then we'll have Fire Emblem, Pokemon, and Yoshi. Unless something comes out of the woodwork for 2018 that we already don't know about, that's not on the job listing, the investors listing. I'm not bringing that up. Everyone knows by now what that is. But so if anything's added, then that's awesome. But at this point, those are the only games for 2018, big titles that we should be expecting. And Pokemon Switch may be saved for E3 because it's a console game now and they want to steal the show completely. They have some heavy competition because Sony has Spider-Man and they have Kingdom Hearts 3. So those are their heavy hitters on top of maybe some things we don't know about. And who cares about Xbox? So my expectations for this E3 personally are very high. Now, based on the fact because we have nothing past July. So Nintendo's going to hit us with some pretty heavy things. I don't think they'll have too many 2019 titles, but that's for E3 prediction video. Right now, my expectations are very high for this E3 presentation coming up, and we may even get some information in May. I thought we might have had a Fire Emblem Direct by now, or a Pokemon Direct by now. Now, for Pokemon and Fire Emblem, they could just do something as short as the titles and then more information at E3. What I would expect, though, guys, is June 4th through June 8th. Pay very close attention to those dates. That's a week before E3, and Pokemon could very well be announced during that time frame. Or they hit us home at the end of E3 with Pokemon Switch. So in terms of your expectations, guys, we're going to get Yoshi, we're going to get Fire Emblem, we're going to get Smash. If you're excited for those three games, you expect to see them because they're on the job, the investors report. So we're already expecting those things. I think if you're expecting anything else outside of those for Nintendo IPs, you may be a little disappointed because we already know they're coming. So I think the anticipation here will maybe more for third-party titles. For example, I think in September, Dragon Ball FighterZ will be announced for the online service. Dark Souls obviously is another third-party game. I think Square Enix has something up their sleeves outside of Octopath. So there may be some really, really high-end third-party titles to be announced at E3, and that may be more of the focus than it is, in a sense, for the games we already know about because we already know about them. Nintendo may shoot some really big third-party surprises at us, and I anticipate that they will. So again, I don't think it's unreasonable to have low expectations because we're going to get information about games we already know about. So if you're expecting really, really big expectations like Bayonetta, Metroid Prime, and Animal Crossing, you may be disappointed. If you're just super hyped for the games we already know about, then you're super hyped. And for me personally, I have very high expectations for this E3 presentation because they're gonna market the hell out of these games up until then, and we're gonna be getting news after news after news. And having at least a window of time frame when these games are going to be announced, like fall, December, holiday, whatever it is they want to say, we'll have that information. So that's basically it for this video, guys. Again, I just kind of wanted to draw out where you could see different views coming from, from a low expectation and a high expectation standpoint based on last year and how this year is different. This year, we don't have any information really at all beyond July. Last year, we knew everything. So the expectations for this year's E3, in my opinion, definitely should be higher than last year's based on the unknown. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have really high expectations for this announcement. Let me know if you don't, and let me know why if you don't. Or, if you have high expectations, let me know why you have high expectations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the audio. It should be a lot better. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Nido17, I am out.